and welcome to the AEW Dynamite Preview. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to look ahead to tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete. A bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to look ahead to Dynamite tonight and the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal.
Yeah, that's one of the few things I'm not looking forward to. There's some good, there's some bad, there's some mid. There's the lurking menace of another cold crowd. I do my research. I've forgotten the name of the building, but I remember the capacity. I think the capacity is like 7,500.
Oh.
I think that's like the maximum capacity. Factor in the big old stage, now the medium stage, TV magic. It's not beyond comprehension that the intimate environs of this building, which you're going to obviously look up the name of.
I've got it, yeah.
It escapes me. Means that there could be that less echoey, voidy quality that permeates Dynamite these days.
It's the Fishers Event Center, as I like to call it, the F***ers Event Center. In Fishers, Indiana. And current setup, 3,199. Tickets distributed 2,630.
Not bad.
So it's going to be half full as opposed to like
Yeah.
a sixth full. So that's
Venue,
good.
first time they've been here as well. Venue debut.
Indiana, where is that in the old States? Is that Midwest?
Feels Midwesty, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Indianapolis. Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, no.
Site of the
I
WrestleMania
don't know.
The Hoosier Dome.
There. That's where you are.
Oh, it's
Sort of east a bit.
yeah. Oh well. Make some bloody noise. It's fine. Just go there and just start chants. Get behind your baby faces. Oh, sorry, they don't book any. They don't really book
Hoosier
any.
State, yeah. The Hoosier Dome. WrestleMania 8 stage.
Jay White and Hammond Page are vying for the world title held by a heel. So get behind the baby faces.
That is one of many problems that we outlined in a video I'm very proud of that went out yesterday on the main channel, but looks a lot like this one, which is our 11 problems with 11 solutions to like kind of address. It's how we go at the state of AEW. Everybody's doing it. But I think this is the best one. I would say that.
Aye.
And I would say watch that to cover off what you might be feeling, which is what I'm feeling going at this Dynamite, which is like zero anticipation.
Anyway.
Like they kind of, I will often be impressed by something on a Dynamite, and it's more fun to talk about in the review than it is to preview because they have lost the ability to make you anticipate things. You lose trust, not just in the process, but I guess in like the crowds, the venues, even the idea of a vibe just feels impossible at the moment. And then sometimes you're surprised with one. That's the best AEW is at the moment, is when it kind of takes you by surprise, either with a cool angle or a cool match or something. So this is that currently. I think this Dynamite is looking to shock you with something good. What have you found?
He's found something. I can tell by his little face.
I've been looking up some facts about Indiana.
Okay.
Home of James Dean. That's where actor James Dean was born.
Right.
Indy 500, of course. Angel Mounds. Love Angel Mounds, me. And some of the common mammals, bobcats, meadow jumping mice, and some of the birds include hairy woodpeckers. So, always good to know that. Actually, before we get to the Dynamite,
Would a bobcat kill you? Bobcat feels like one of those. America's got loads of dangerous animals.
There was a viral video going the rounds of a guy who'd a bobcat had found its way into his abode, or he'd rescued it or something. It was a small bobcat, and like he was like, "Oh, bobcat!" This bobcat was doing like pretty aggressive cat play, and the dog next to it like, "What do you?" It's like this dog knows what's going on. This dog knows what's
Don't
up.
trust that guy.
Yeah.
I watched a YouTube video, and it's now my algorithm is just all this. I get one a day every day, and it's like, yeah, go on, I'll go for another then. I don't know how it appeared the first time, but once I saw it, I was like, oh, I do kind of want to see.
Where you going with this, brother?
Fox in the hen house.
Jesus Christ.
It's just like watching Wardlow versus the 20 security guards of the animal world. So like, and it's a thing on YouTube. So like, fuck gets in. It's like the chick is like, oh, Jesus, they're flying everywhere. The fox is kicking ass. Like some get out, some survive. There's like the little Dorsky. Like it's like it's farmers like cameras that they've got in there. So they're putting them on YouTube for the numbers. I'm just the numbers, right?
Yeah, I would suggest not being the numbers anymore.
Yeah.
It's not as much of a killing floor as you would think. It's more just a brawl. No, like you would think it's like, oh, Fox is going to get one in, like a chicken by the neck or something. Doesn't happen.
I'm laughing nervously, just so you know.
It's just a brawl.
People like animals. People like animals, dickhead.
Feathers.
How many times do we have to have this conversation with you?
Feathers fly.
How many times do we have to have this conversation with you?
Feathers fly.
You like...
Oh, do you know what you like, Sage? Is telling us in detail how you cook an ox's cheek. Let me tell you where that comes from, pal. The ox. The face of the ox, or the arse of the ox. I can't remember which one.
There's not ox walking around.
I want to see the process.
Someone's got to kill that guy so that you can braise that cheek. Yeah?
This is, you know what? You make a salient point. Let's make salient points about professional wrestling.
Okay, that is fair. You make a salient point too.
Before we get to tonight's show,
we've all got salient points.
Sid, your reaction to the unfortunate news that Juice Robinson is out of the C2. We talked a little bit about it on the Collision review, of course, earlier on in the week. It's been confirmed now. A suspected broken foot after that match with Will Ospreay. Get well soon to Juice Robinson. Commander replacing him.
Yeah. I mean... It's like for like, and it isn't. I mean, the guys are. I don't want to kick the dude when he's down, but Juice Robinson existed to be the pin eater of the block. He's very over. People like him. I do too. Not so much in the ring these days. I suspect he was chosen for the C2 because they need a pin eater. He might have developed a rapport with fans, an even deeper one throughout the tournament. Got a nice little sentimental Winsky at the end there. I think that was his trajectory. Yes. Commander isn't as likable or as meme-worthy or as over, but probably more capable of exciting matches. So it's a bit, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other here. Get well soon to Juice because he was pretty instrumental in getting the Bang Bang Gang over and adding a little bit of personality to Jay White.
Yeah. Let's not forget, Commander doesn't come alone, though. I think he has a manager who usually accompanies him to ringside. Is that not
I believe so.
I think it's the answer to that is yeah.
Yeah. It's Alex Abrantes. Yeah. It's Alex Abrantes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, that's a C2 isn't it?
Well, my question was it already? Because...
half of it's on Rampage?
Yeah. It's a very much... main message, get well soon, Juice Robinson, can't be like understated when we talk about the rest of this, because you do sort of analyse what happens next, but that's why wrestlers get so insecure about the spots, because it is just like, anyway, Commander's in, so see you later, and you shouldn't lose sight of that. However, there was already this kind of like, these whispers that this tournament was a little bit put together on the back of a packet of tabs, rather than Gato sitting down with his like Calcan trig and like laying out an entire, years worth of booking off the back of every
that's an MJF size book, that.
Yeah, well, indeed. And obviously, some of that is done because, well, what could happen if somebody gets injured when I've planned this tournament ages in advance and I've got a pay-per-view coming up and all that. But, yeah, when you can lift somebody out like this and then you can split the matches across ramp and not really announce necessarily them like fixtures like they did last year, it does make it a little bit easier on the booking to just have one of countless wrestlers to hand to be able to, like, in you go.
Did like the phrase first alternate that Tony Khan used.
Yeah, I like it when he does his sporting phrases and creates the impression that this is a real world and not this wacky, dumb, prop-filled, TNA-pilled hellscape. Remember the standby match?
Yep.
Could have jacked it to that.
Do you know what they should
Remember
do?
that every day.
They should show some footage of, because it's Gold League, right? That Juice is in, I believe so. The Blue League alternate just sat there waiting nervously by the phone. It's Evil Uno. Always there.
It's a good bit.
Good little bit. Right.
Every time they try and do something with them, I feel sorry for them because they were like a huge part of AEW's fabric during the peak, no less. And then like every single time they come on TV, they involve themselves in something that, the charm has just worn off a bit. And it's like, Hangman Page is... You remember when they teased when the Elite, the Hung Bucks wore purple and they were sort of beefing with the Dark Order and everyone was like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Get rid of the Dark Order. And it's like, all right, okay, they've gone away. And then there was like Hangman Page was having a fight with Jarrett backstage, and Evil Uno was like, "What happened to you?" It's like, "Well, don't do the Dark Order again. Get the Dark Order as far away from Hangman Page as you can." And it's like, right, we'll find something else for them to do. They can stand up for AEW if you like, and then they've got the nunchucks, and then it's like, get those losers out of here. I always like the Dark Order a great deal, but they're not really wanted anymore, are they?
No, there isn't a role that, other than little bits at sort of Evil Uno's expense or stuff that they shoot for YouTube or X.
There's got to be a role for them. Evil Uno's really underrated. He can really brawl. John Silver in a trio or a tag could be doing something, man. But no one really wants to see them anymore.
I mean, they could well feature in the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. We know, I think, 6 people in it. Mark Davis, Commander. Brian Cage, Lance Archer, Cool Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole, of course.
There's not a lot to love here. We've talked extensively about the bizarre idea to do the cool MJF continuation with the reverse alignments, and then that's already not exactly good, even if Adam Cole was in incredible form. He isn't. And then on top of that, you've got Undisputed Era Nostalgia. It's not even the right company. The company is the one that you annihilated 3 or 4 years ago, and people were quite happy to watch it get annihilated if the ratings bears that takeout. So I don't know what the hell we're doing here. I don't care about what we're doing here. But to be a bit more positive and optimistic about things, there's law with core Kyle O'Reilly in terms of it's not good. I mean, it's all good stuff.
That's good stuff.
He was presented as a Battle Royal specialist. Yep. I believe he won one both as a singles, leading to a match with Jon Moxley to determine who would face Tanahashi for the interim AEW World title. And I believe he won a tag one alongside Bobby Fish at some point. I'm fairly certain that happened. So, it's one of those every detail matters. I wish you'd join them up a bit better or remind people or make it meaningful. But, it's there. It's there.
Excalibur will drop it tonight, won't he?
Yeah, if you look hard enough, it's there and you'll be reminded of it. So I do like that. And I also am rather fond of an AEW Battle Royal brackets general. They've been far better good ones than bad. The mere fact that you can remember the Battle Royals in AEW says a lot. I mean, you can remember any WWE Battle Royal other than maybe 2. The one where...
I barely remember the bloody Rumble this year, mate.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So on top of the casino ones, the casino gauntlets... You have to add the word gauntlet to make it goated. The casino battle royales with the 4 entrances at the same time, they were rubbish. But me and Hamlet watched an incredible one live.
The
Orange Cassidy and Swerve Strickland one.
Yeah. Big Bill.
The Big Bill.
Big moment.
The Big Bill breakthrough. Sorry, alliteration is the work of... So we won't do that anymore. That was great. Jack Perry used to be amazing in the Battle Royal format when he was playing underdog babyface.
Yeah.
He's highlighted some stuff.
Christian Cage, it was down to him.
Yeah. So they've got previous with doing really good Battle Royals. I think the first Royal Rampage was really good. So they know what they're doing. There's been some mid, but genuinely they're the best Battle Royal promotion ever. They take a gimmick that, if it's not the Rumble, very few people care about it. And they've either done the traditional ones well, or they might have outrumbled the Rumble, which is some achievement.
Yeah.
This should be all right, but again, there's going to be a lot of characters in it that people don't care about. That kind of extends to Dynamite in general. And the actual stakes, people don't seem to care about. The stock of the favorites is low. I don't know. This might be a little bit bleak, but there could be some good work in there.
Kyle O'Reilly alluded...
Melodrama alert as well with Cole and Kyle.
We alluded to a plan on Collision when he was chatting to Taven and Bennett, didn't he? And we were like, what's all that about, basically?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I didn't ask the question at all. Not my head.
Is it as simple as this?
Yeah, just like this, that's fine.
Yeah. Is it as simple as Adam Cole wins this to get one step closer to fighting MJF?
No. It's as simple as him falling one step short.
Again, because they'll have to delay it to World's End.
Yeah.
And Kyle O'Reilly could dump him out and say, look, it's for the greater good. I need to take care of this before it consumes you or whatever. You think?
Yeah, and then MJF
for the
wins.
Undisputed Era guy as well, and even you don't give a
Do you know what my problem with this is that I'd never like this thing where people will say, I don't think they're always lying, but people will say things like, I just can't keep up. Like it's never that hard if you watch.
There were so many factions, though, in the early days of AEW. It was just like, ugh.
Maybe it's rooted in that, right? But about wrestling in general, I think if you watch for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like it will tell you, it will remind you. It's not quite as good as like your standard soap, where their skill is like you're locked in within 5 minutes, straight away, lighting, certain look to like sort of over someone's shoulder, the way they speak, whatever. Goodies, baddies, affairs, fight, all that. Wrestling's not as good as that, but it's pretty good with this exposition for the just sitting down. And then people will be like, I don't know what's going on. I genuinely don't know what's going on with how people fell out and when and who was friends with who and when. We were talking in the office before we came up about the kind of infamous peanut butter sandwich skits with Adam Cole and I don't want to like go 2 foot in on that again. But if you go from that to the Adam Cole injury, to the MJF comeback, to the Undisputed Kingdom just floundering because of that, really, and then drop Kyle O'Reilly in, and then try and remember how and when Bobby Fish was in AEW and then left. I can't remember the loyalties and if there was people screwed other people or like other than Adam Cole and Roderick Strong falling out when it appeared as if MJF had gotten in the middle and then that was Grandmaster Plan. Other than those
Devil.
two,
He was the devil. Yeah,
it's the devil. Other than those two, I don't really have the thread of why everybody's cool or not cool with each other, and then they come out and do these promos every week, and it's this like forced tension.
Oh God, they suck as
MJF
well.
in the lair.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's
suck,
like
Ace.
you could shake hands. You could like there was a bit last week where they framed it where like Taven and Bennett were sort of behind Cole while Cole and Kyle O'Reilly were having their thing, and I was like, are they going to jump Cole from behind because they've been dragged into this as well? I'm thinking, I don't even know if that's a swerve or not at this point. Like, would that scan as this big? Whoa, how could you? Because that's what it is with this with me. I don't feel anything for the Undisputed Era stuff because you could just Men in Black erase this and
no one would care.
Hoy them all in black and yellow t-shirts with them all doing that, and people would be like, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the problem. That's the big problem, is that just nobody really cares about whatever dispute it is. Adam Cole turned on Kyle O'Reilly, which was the wrong way around, by the way, on a version of NXT that only the three of us were watching.
Yes.
And then they proceeded to have terrible matches to play all that
The
off.
most 2004 Triple H Shawn Michaels arsed matches you've ever seen in your goddamn life.
The roster of security guards of people who ended up being far more interesting that you wanted to watch.
Oh my God.
Bron Breakker's one of them security guards, and he would have been a security guard for 5 more years in that CWC. Like, while these two just did this, and we're still doing this. Kyle O'Reilly wins, gets bludgeoned. MJF retains the ring next week, bludgeons up Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole's like, no, another friend dragged into this never-ending war. Why? And World's End. Get it finished and get it done.
How far away is World End? It's
28?
27? It's this month, thank Christ.
December 28th.
And maybe then do the reset in 2025.
Like, who wins out of Adam Cole and MJF to like say that they've, like Adam Cole theoretically, right, to finally this can be over. But like 12 months ago, you were the devil.
And
You are at fault here. Like, you're not sort of walking, finally this war is over. I don't mean this comparison too much, and the match will be substantially better, as we know from just watching it 2 weeks ago. But by the time Gargano had turned heel and they were revisiting that, it was, you can't even do the Gargano heroic walk away from battle thing. It's like, you're a dickhead as well, mate.
Yeah.
Everyone was a dickhead in the end. That's one of the reasons why this ate itself. And
Yeah.
that's this.
Any guesses as to layer stuff that we see from MJF? Because he's presumably be watching. We've had the wine, right?
he plays classical piano.
Piano.
He's got his music hits, which distracts Adam Cole, which allows Kyle O'Reilly to win. And then we see him in his lair, and he's got like one of those sort of like you would have still DJ'd him, where it's just a row of buttons and 8 tracks, and it's controlling the mainframe, and he plays his music.
Oh, he hacks the mainframe.
Yeah.
Remember, it's an ancient lair with goblets and leather bound.
It's too medieval. The lair's too medieval.
Gramophone.
Playing his music.
Yeah.
And he lights a really old cigar, I'll go with, to sell it to toast.
No. Sorry, I have to do my very pedantic trivia AEW note. If you recall, after breaking the arm of Dustin Rhodes on the road to Full Gear 2019 alongside the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho borrowing from the pro wrestling history that Vince McMahon ignored, and that thus AEW were able as a competitor to exploit. Lit the victory cigar. I killed him. Get in, celebrate with a cigar. Great bit, great bit. Warner were furious, absolutely furious, and said, "Don't you dare show smoking ever again."
That's wild.
It's weird because they've referenced weed like Hangman Page and Swerve and Nana, but you can't actually show the act. They were furious by all accounts. So sorry, I had to put that in there.
No, that's just really
I had to correct your bit.
Here's why MJF smoking a cigar in a lair will be stupid. Come on.
Also tonight, Jay White is out for revenge against Pac following the run-in with the Death Riders. He was on Collision, basically attacking Wheeler Yuta after Yuta and Hangman Page, of course, and basically saying, "Tell the king I'm coming for him."
So here's the thing. You see a match graphic like this, and you think, well, that's going to be conditional goated. Obviously, everyone says that. This is going to be conditional goated because look at the caliber of wrestlers, the idea of Jay White doing the Blade Runner, and then Pac does a handspring, elbow, front flip out of it. I mean, it's just got...
Oh my God.
Potential, hence the double goated, the conditional goated classification, of course, obviously.
Yes. However, someone in the comments clarifying what a Turcarino was the other day.
Yeah. However, Pac has got all the physical gifts in the world and is capable of wrestling fantastic matches. He's also got a very methodical slant that can sometimes just brush up too uncomfortably against tedious. Jay White can stall. Jay White has got that exact same thing, sort of like ingrained in his DNA. Remember the Christian Cage match where it's like, what's this? This is a match that could just sort of happen in front of you and be very methodical and almost formless and a bit sludgy. But here's another thing. That might be conditional cynicism. Because
conditional Turcarino.
I had to. It's conditional.
Everything's conditional until it happens.
I would hold my hands up because I said the exact same thing with all too much pessimism ahead of Pac versus Kazuchika Okada at Dynasty Dynasty, because Okada can also take his sweet time to get going. Pac can, and I thought there's a chance this match is just pretty dull until the last 5 minutes. In fact, it was this absorbing, compelling, beautifully worked story where Pac was like, "You probably should be a babyface, really, because you're so goddamn great at." He's good at selling at bumping, and how good is he at bumping? So ultimately, this is an incredibly long-winded way of saying it could go either way.
Yeah, I'm not mega hyped for this.
There's also the blanket crowd suck now, which sucks the fun out of even the good work.
Sounds just like a me thing, this, but like I hope like Jay White like wears his awesome like white attire or like the red tights or something. Like you need a bit of colour in AEW, especially as a contract. Like it's okay,
especially in this program.
Yeah, like Death Riders can bring a black cloud over AEW. That is absolutely fine. But like anything that is just like a little glimmer of light represents hope, doesn't it, for AEW and all that sort of stuff. And just that would be, well, instantly I'm a little bit more right. I might have something to look at here. I don't want this to go long. There's a lot of matches. Battle Royals take a bit longer, potentially, than your standard match. And the Death Riders thing at the moment
I've got an idea for some content, and it will drop out of my head. It's for your benefit, this. I'm not being rude.
The Death Riders matches have been a mix of the Death Riders winning or the match being thrown out.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I could see this one being thrown out because I could see it lead into a post-match schmoz angle that gets you more ready, I suppose, for World's End and this multi-man, this three-way or four-way that they're going to. I don't think they're doing Jay White and John Moxley as a singles. No. I think they're throwing Cage and
maybe they again...
They deck him again, and it looks like Marine Sphere is going to do the Mother's Milk again, because it was a pretty awesome spot last week. People got their enjoyment out of just how left for dead Jay White was. So it looks like that's going to happen again. And then, because of the massive bodies, you've got Cage and Christian Cage and Hangman Page back out there, and the four-way looks ever clearer after this match.
I think, maybe they send Wheeler Yuta in to try and screw Jay White, and somehow Hangman Page, a bit like Jay White was to sort of saving Wheeler Yuta seemingly on Collision from getting a broken neck and then going, I'll just hit you with the finish anyway. wonder if Hangman Page, just because he pissed off so much, attacks Wheeler Yuta, and that may allow Jay White to get a win to say, I've staked my claim, but also thanks, Hangman Page.
What?
Also, Hangman Page has still got to fight Christopher Daniels.
Yeah. What brought Hangman Page to Orange Cassidy's rescue at the pay-per-view? Like, everybody else arrived because they arrived. That was because
Christian Cage's
Hangman
mate.
Page and Christian Cage had the plan. That was what it was, yeah. So maybe, now he's in. I was just trying to think of, like, what would bring Hangman Page out there as part of this. You've got to bring all the people that are involved in the story, but he's in it now, isn't he? So probably no finish and big schmoz 4-way coming.
Aye. Speaking of grudge matches, though, Swerve Strickland versus Max Caster. You really hate Max Caster, don't you?
For all the right reasons.
We were saying this on College, weren't we? Because he cut on another promo basically being like, I gave him the week off after they were all such bloody losers at the pay-per-view. You're an arsehole.
As the leader of the Acclaimed.
I say this.
It's always a great bit, that.
Yeah, like Albert and Gary in this tag team, and like it's not like, I just want to sort of, I know Max Caster has been like a controversial figure in the past, and this is and maybe that is contributing to why there is such distaste towards him. However, I think that is so valuable in this current version of AEW. I think Kyle Fletcher will be a babyface with certain crowds soon enough because he continues to deliver great matches. I think the Continental Classic doesn't do damage, but it doesn't help this who can you really hate in AEW vibe, because the Continental Classic exists to deliver good matches and there's a split of heels and baby faces. And if those heels are contributing great matches, well, then we have a problem here, don't we? Like, there's been all sorts of discourse, some of it interesting, some of it dreadful, about why that Ricochet Claudio match failed last week. One of them is because Claudio's just mega impressive.
Yeah.
And even if he does it with hatred and a scowl, how are you as a fan expected to react how impressive that is?
Such a cool, massive, badass.
Right, exactly
He
right.
ticks so many of the boxes that as a wrestling fan you gravitate towards.
Yeah. Max Caster doesn't. And he's really dislikable. And he will lose to Swerve. And he's technically a babyface coming out of a babyface act that it's the best time to be doing jobs. And all that does is strengthen his belief in a flawed argument that he's any good. It's a great time for Max Caster to lose, and he's going up against a beloved babyface at this point in Swerve Strickland.
Who needs a win.
Who needs a win.
Yes.
I think it's terrific matchmaking. I think it stands on the precipice of being terrific booking as well.
Yeah, with the Hurt Syndicate implications.
Yeah, like, I think they really, really could have something with Max Caster as a heel, not least because he sort of, even Wheeler Yuta falls into this trap. Max Caster, as the little bastard of the Hurt Syndicate, is an infinitely better version of Wheeler Yuta as a little bastard of the Death Riders, because he can gew as well, and they're kind of almost telling you, hey, you can root for this guy if you want, because John Moxley's kind of bullying him.
Yeah.
None of that with Max Caster in the Hurt Syndicate. Absolutely. The MVP last week was doing everything he could to try and get those, like, get the three of them booed. Like, they were getting put across as like the big bads of AEW.
The mercenaries
Out for titles, out for gold. It's just like, these are all really cool.
Yeah.
These are all really, really cool. Why should I hate you, really? Well, Max Caster will give you reasons to hate, especially if he does it at Anthony Bourne's expense. Another beloved babyface in waiting. I think there's potential here, real potential.
I have to echo all of that. It's one of those where, God damn it, sometimes Hamlet's correct. This match can't be very good. It shouldn't be very good. It shouldn't be back and forth. AEW's in a position now where there's just so much autopilot, so many cooks in there. They often, can't you go 5 minutes without booking a 15-minute back and forth match? They might not be able to help themselves because it's just so, it's encoded into the promotion at this point, that certain style. This one should be just a complete and utter subversion of that norm. Caster should lose. Swerve Strickland should win. I don't know how that would then tie into the Hurt Syndicate wanting to still recruit Caster. But then they could just say, look, there's a champion in you.
Yeah.
And that's there is a good champion, a tenured champion in Max Caster. We can bring you back to your former glories. So they can recruit him on past form. And that's got sporting precedent. There are teams and franchises, but in like football clubs, it will go, right, he's had a dog couple of years, but I'm certain you can get something out of him if it fits the profile of the group. And like, is that player or that wrestler got something we don't have and we could do with?
Will Grigg?
For you, yeah.
We've got a precedent. Alexander Isak for Newcastle United Football Club.
Oh my God.
An incredible footballer when he's fit. When we signed him for 63 million quid, it was like, new signing, great. Go on his Wikipedia, which is also so surface level, which is going to feed into my next point. The goals are sort of tapering off, like did the business 3 or 4 years ago, and then they started to taper off. There was some injuries here and there, but then they thought, right, no. He's got it in him. He's just not been in the right setup for that player's profile. He suits us down to the ground. And because he's had those couple of seasons off, none of the really big clubs are looking at him, but he's in the range of our budget. Get him signed. Lo and behold, really great recruitment, and he's just done the business.
Looking at the Wikipedia page, is the sort of polar opposite in it to the Twitter montage that people make. Oh, cool. I think we're getting the new Messi.
Yeah.
Oh, every video you watch of your new signing that you've never heard of. Lucky all us.
And it's like, so we're in the league
I
then.
love that. Is it Mike Bassett, the one where they watch his montage and he's like, sign that lad? And they realise it's the goalkeeper who's getting scored past. So it's the tape of or whatever. But yeah, we've got our own Alexander Isak in Will Grigg. Cast aside by many a team, yours included. And
We basically found his level.
last month's player of the month. We're doing terribly. We conceded in the first minute last night. But that aside,
Where are you in the table?
like mid-table at best, probably.
It's
now.
all right, isn't it?
It's all right.
Yeah, it's
you want
fine.
to survive
We're
in your
only
first
Stability
year.
season.
You want to lay your foundations in there.
It's one of those.
You're not nervous, are you, about the second half of the season?
No, I don't think so. But I was hoping for minimum playoffs. We are ninth.
Greedy.
Ninth. We're only 3 points off the playoffs.
Stop complaining then, mate.
And hey, maybe I'll need some people to come and help me rediscover my support for Chesterfield. Maybe in January or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
What were we
That's
talking
just
about?
for us. That's not for them.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, we'll be documenting it. Everything must be documented, of course.
DIY question. I know I shouldn't be doing this on a podcast.
Yeah.
You got any?
A good job you come to me for a DIY question.
I like nightmare situation at home. Like ran out of valves.
You've run out of valves
Run out of-
specifically,
run
have
out
you?
of valves.
Well, I've got the perfect recommendation for you.
Yeah?
And that's lean gate valves.
Lean gate valves.
Yes.
Not the lean gate valves.
Lean gate valves, baby.
There you go.
If you ever need your valves, think lean gate.
He left radio, but radio will never ever leave him.
Leave the radio before the radio leaves you. Doesn't apply to you. You were born for radio.
Yeah. Your suggestion about the match length, though, to circle back to the wrestling part we were talking about, I do agree with, and I'm hoping, because I'm looking at that card, and I'm like, at least 4 matches are going to be given a decent amount of time. 2 C2 matches, Battle Royal, obviously, and Jay White and Pac and Jay White.
Yeah. The CT matches haven't really been given that much time on Kalish.
I'm just hoping.
Sorry, I'm stepped on your dick. What were you going to say to me?
Well, I'm just saying that if you factor that in, plus mandatory Chris Jericho segment probably. By the way, did you see Adam Blair's response to what we were talking about last week? He said he might do the groundwork. Fair play to him. He already does enough with the
data.
Thanks, which we'll get to in a bit, to work out how much time Chris Jericho has been on our screens in 2024 compared to the women's matches on Dynamite.
Oh, God.
There's some information.
Good luck with that, Adam. Thank you.
No.
But yeah, there's a women's match on this show, but that will probably go short, understandably, because that's the way he books them. Just the one women's match, which we will get to. So I'm hoping the other 4 matches, given a lot of time, yeah, don't need to go long in so we can kick in Meg Kerster's ass.
Yeah, I mean, we're bargaining here. What people forget, remember the days I was like, it's too much.
Yes, I remember you panicking.
All the stuff I want to see is not going to get enough time. It is astonishing how much match time you can sort of reserve by not doing angles and promos. Do you want to know how I know that? I watch Collision every week. So don't worry about that. There's always time. There's always time for matches in AEW. Except when it was really great. There was not enough.
Sid, we might only have time for back. Don't worry, you'll get in your 4th.
Let's talk C2. You want to start Blue League or Gold League, Sid?
I can't remember what the difference is, pal.
Okay, Gold League with the replacement commander in that features, well, the thing that was teased in the main event last week, Brody King versus Claudio Castagnoli.
Yeah, right. I'm in a good mood now. They had one last year as well, didn't they?
Yes.
They did, didn't they? Yeah. And it kicked ass. Why do I remember that more? Danielson must have wrestled Brody King.
Yeah, but all in the blue league.
Yeah, I can't remember that
Gold
Danielson.
League, of course.
I can't remember that Danielson Brody King match. I remember Danielson and Claudio had a match that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I remember Brody King and Kingston had a match that was phenomenal, and I remember Brody versus Claudio was excellent as well. So, yeah, more of that, please. More of that. And the best thing about this version of the match is that, well, good news, bad news. The bad news is that, unlike last year when this was like so sorely needed as a tonic after the sports entertainment overtures of a lot of 2023, this just felt like what AEW really needed, and as a result the fans are really up for it. It's what they wanted. That sort of copium vibe has evaporated from AEW right now, hence why the first round of AEW C2 matches last week, before they weren't even that great, were hardly like, yes, bang, we are up for this. So that atmosphere doesn't exist. However, if there's a trend in wrestling with, like, you know, Hobbs and Miro and a lot of the WWE Hoss matches with like Strowman and Bronson, even when people are just kind of bored, tired, not sort of connected to pro wrestling, hence these quiet crowds, enough evidence exists that when you see two big lads in that ring, it's like, right, get in. This is like, it's something primal within you that just wants to see this sort of thing. So hopefully the atmosphere will exist for this. And another thing going for it, which might allow it to rival last year's match, maybe even eclipse it, is that this version of Claudio rules ass. And him being sort of nasty, and then the idea of Brody King having a little bit of a glimmer of a heart against Darby. You know, he's not honourable prey, and if anyone gets to kick this guy's ass, it's me, not you, arsehole. There's a nicer sort of situational, like a different situational babyface scenario here for Brody King. People have felt ready to want to have Brody King in their lives on their TV screens a lot more. Every time he's out there, he's so much more over than he's push. This has happened to him like every step of the way. People have been ready for a prominent featured role for Brody King for quite some time. You know, it's
as was teased in last year's C2.
Indeed. So, you know, maybe the crowd will do some talking for AEW at this point. So I'm tentatively very, very excited. And again, I would classify this as conditional good, you know.
It's weird. And Tony Khan would like this, and, you know, maybe Brody King would like this. Could Tony Khan be seeing Brody King, the longer the Continental Classic goes over the years and years and years, as his like Tomohiro Ishii? Guaranteed good matches, wins a few, half kills himself, but it ends up being one of the most dramatic stories. Never gets the win. People each year forget that and are just like rooting for him to do it. But like silently, people acknowledge the ceiling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and yeah.
I'm not saying that's an ideal scenario, but maybe
it's not ideal because Ishii never got that Wrestle Kingdom big match that he deserved year in, year out. One of the key flaws of that ghetto resurgence period. So, to be honest, I hope his run goes better than Ishii's.
Who you got
for this? Claudio, sadly. Claudio.
I think it's Claudio, and I think
it's a better way of juicing up the Ospreay match, for example. Then he could go either way, I suppose.
Claudio might win his group.
They're loving that Claudio at the minute.
Yeah. Because we were automatically booking, you know, your Okadas, your
Okada, Darby, Ospreay, Fletcher. And then he could do Ospreay, Fletcher as a rubber match at Revolution before really thinking about, is he going to be in that world title picture at any point?
Again, not to sort of bring this back to
Ospreay.
Like, not to bring this back to, like, major plot holes in the Death Riders or the idea.
Please do.
No, but, like, there's always some to be found, and that's the problem. We said this at the very beginning. Setting a stable and an idea like this in a promotion that is broadly dysfunctional is always going to kind of reveal issues with it. What does it say about the Death Riders and Jon Moxley as a leader, and Claudio as a wrestler, but mainly the ethos, if your guy isn't dominant in a wrestling tournament? Do you know what I mean? Like, they would have to kind of address that.
He has to be third, an absolute minimum.
Yeah, they would have to like deal with that from a narrative point of view if he isn't dominating throughout most of it, or like if he falls short in a way that like Jon Moxley can wave off, fine. But if he just has like a middling tournament, wins some, loses some, what does that say about Jon Moxley and his stable?
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game!
haven't really got a snappy title for this one. We were bemoaning in the office the amount of C2 matches this year that have been put on Rampage.
Yeah.
Daniel Garcia.
I mean, it's getting cancelled.
Daniel Garcia.
Iron Savage is in the main event for me. I don't give a shit. It's getting cancelled.
When is it done?
End of the year, I think.
This year.
When you said that, I was going to be like, after Dynamite, that's what I always tape it.
This is like in Godspeed You Black Emperor album title of a quiz game name, isn't it?
Daniel Garcia's facing someone on Rampage who I can't remember the name of.
It's the Beast. Mortos.
But what was the one match in last year's C2 that was on Rampage? I'll give you a clue. It was from the Bell Centre, or as I like to call it, the Bell End Centre in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. They were taped on the same night as Dynamite.
Oh my God, it was absolutely good. Was it Danielson Garcia? That match kicked so much goddamn ass. They've had like a lot of matches in AEW. I think it was the best of the lot.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I loved it.
Doesn't matter. Also, bonus question. Can you name how many matches went sub 10 minutes in last year's C2?
5.
No, dear, that's wrong.
Not many.
No. 2.
No, dear, that's wrong.
All right, I'm doing this then. 4.
No, dear, that's wrong.
1.
Jesus. I mean, that's C2. I mean, that's G1.
Roosh J. Lethal. Went 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
I remember it, but I think we welcomed it. The Jay Lethal story was a decent one.
Where the hell's Rouge?
He's being managed by Thingy now, isn't he?
Jake Roberts, yeah.
Got some big plans, clearly. Shelton Benjamin versus Carl Fletcher. Someone's has got to go.
This is quite interesting. Interesting on a lot of levels. One, Shelton Benjamin.
Keep some more.
Shelton Benjamin has been portrayed as this uber muscled killer, like a hoss within a different setting. And Carl Fletcher's like this swole, ripped dude. So it's a different complexion to a Shelton Benjamin AEW match. And indeed, they're both kind of getting pushed as big deals. Fletcher is a bigger deal than Shelton because Shelton is ultimately second to Lashley. It's a pick on this. I'll be very interested because I don't think it's guaranteed either way. If it was me, I haven't got all the permutations in front of me. It's purely an instinct thing. My mind says Fletcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Fletcher's younger. Fletcher's going to give you that AEW match really that the fans want. Even though there's too much of it, it's still they would like a Fletcher match. That's more likely to headline a pay-per-view in 2025 than a Benjamin match, for example. So I'm saying Fletcher, but they really want to do something with Shelton Benjamin. So I'm going to, on every near fall, I'll be biting. I'm very interested in what this match looks like and who wins it. So good booking.
Yeah, it is good booking this. I'm going with Fletcher too, but in the same way that last week, I didn't love the match, but I got what I was anticipating in terms of Mark Briscoe being able to sort of reduce himself in order to make Shelton look like the power man. Oddly, I think they might like sort of turn that around on Shelton in this one and have him reduce himself as veterans can. They kind of know what to do for kind of the benefit of their opponent. Like if this was like a monster figure, a Satnam Singh or whatever, Shelton Benjamin would be like, right, here's what I have to do in order to get this very limited figure over. Carl Fletcher is anything but that, but he also has a type of wrestling style at the moment that AEW need to have him out there expressing every single week. So you understand who this Kyle Fletcher is. Ospreay was obviously magnificent at the pay-per-view, and Shelton won't be as good, but Shelton can do that too. Shelton spent enough time doing that in WWE as a guy that was just there to lose or just there to be there for somebody else, and I think he's going to be there for Kyle Fletcher tonight. You're not going to see as much of the out-muscling. Jesus Christ, he's massive in AEW. I think you're going to see Shelton Benjamin like lower himself isn't the word, but you know what I mean? Like reduce himself in aura and status for the benefit of this Kyle Fletcher push because he can lose in the Hurt Syndicate. He's the guy, he's already been beaten. You know, it's not like they're preserving an unbeaten streak with him, that kind of thing. And Fletcher, it's okay for you to have the Hurt Syndicate and Kyle Fletcher as projects at the same time, but that's what makes this intriguing.
Yeah.
And no interference and somebody having to lose is what makes the tournament good. There is a bit of prestige here. So, yeah, Fletcher winning for me.
Before we get to the one women's match on this card, there's something else booked. Jamie Hayter
She's great.
is set to make an appearance. We're going to hear from her. Is she going to be, or is she going to continue to be haunted by Julia Hart?
I don't know. It feels like we hear from Jamie Hayter. It'd be nice to see her in the ring and cutting a promo, but it'll be 15 seconds with Renee Paquette realistically before maybe another vignette. I don't hate this and the eventual match. I don't know who wins that, so that's good. But I get it. Get to the point.
World's End match, probably. Maybe because she's been quite good at deadpanning these interruptions, as scary as they are. So maybe she interrupts the interruption. The tape. She's like, no, cut that off. No, I get it. You're coming back.
But how's a black hacking the mainframe?
Well, Jamie Hayter unhacks it.
To unhack it?
Jamie Coda. And she kind of knows the way around it. And then she says, but she's quite funny, Jamie Hayter, as well. So, she can sort of deadpan that and be like, I get it. I respect you. You don't need this, nonsense to try and get to me. You want a match, I'm right here. And that's Julia Hart is almost aggravated by her magical mainframe ways, not sort of sending the effective message, and that gets you to the comeback. I'm with Sige. I want the match.
Yeah.
But it's
nice to have a really exciting, unpredictable match with no title involved.
Yeah.
But speaking of titles, you got obviously Mariah May defending against Mina Shirakawa next week at Winter Isn't Coming, which leaves with Willow and the cup thing that's going on, but it leaves the TBS title. Anna Jay in action tonight. Is that next for her? We sort of saw her allude to it.
Yes, it's this. So ask
yeah. I cracked a bit of a code on Collision.
Okay, what's this?
She was getting
Enigma her ears.
She's getting X + 1 2 7. You're like, can you crack the code?
Yeah.
It was Y2J, or whatever it was.
Save us T22.
Looks like Sting's nose in that. She was on Collision being interviewed, and she's like, well, obviously I can't fight for the title anymore. What's Mariah May's champion, world title?
Who's this?
Anna Jay.
Right.
And she said, instead, I'm going to take a big swing at someone else. And I sort of wrote that, take a big swing. I wrote that down, and I crossed out the letters that weren't the first letters in each of the words, and it's TBS. Well, technically TABS, but TBS. TBS title. That leads you to Mercedes.
Money.
However, to get there, she's got to beat Penelope Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the most intense rivalries in AEW continues. This completely selective continuity nonsense needs to stop. It's just kind of you're feeding the narrative that the booking's so haphazard and inconsistent that you can just pretend to selectively care about things and people just don't buy it. If they're really not prepared to buy it, you're probably better off not trying to sell it for your own credibility's sake. That said, I've enjoyed their interactions in the past. I don't necessarily think of it as this great historical legacy rivalry or nothing like that. But the nice thing is that Penelope Ford is one of the better wrestlers who loses in that division. And Anna Jay always seems to just go away. And now she isn't. She's getting a bit of consistent ring time and narrative focus. So I'm into that. Both wrestlers can run hot and cold. Anna Jay can sometimes wrestle matches that are just then. Sometimes really, really show you something. I'm hoping this is one on the latter nights, obviously. She's going to win, obviously, as well.
Yeah, Anna Jay to win. The quality of this should be all right. Given time or not hacked to pieces by a commercial break.
I mean, that's going to happen inevitably.
Yeah.
Even
ignoring the storyline history, there is at least pre-existing chemistry.
Oh yeah.
So you could present this as brand new, and in the background they've been working on it, but they've just done it out in front of the cameras, basically. This feels there's every now and then there'll be an AEW match as well that sort of feels like one for the OGs. Because there's the roster has changed so much and got so bloated,
hideously bloated.
Yeah, and there'll be a match that you cannot help but have that sort of warm feeling for like a very different and smaller, but well, better.
Member
AEW
berries are all elite.
Member berries are all elite. This is absolutely a member berries are all elite match. This one. So yeah, I think there'll be a certain like, I don't know if the crowds are even member berries
They
anymore.
don't. It's sad.
Like
Yuka
the
Sakazaki,
hardcores, but
Yuka Sakazaki wasn't over the last time she turned up.
No.
You know, there's been a few glaring examples of, oh my God, like people just don't care about the roots anymore.
There was a fella I was thinking the Manhattan Center Raws as like a comparison for where we could be at with AEW. Where it's like you've started Raw and it's kind of inspired because it doesn't look like the crowds are tiny. It looks like this gorgeous venue, but in reality, it's because we're live every Monday. And
We can't draw.
It's like 1,000 people less that want to come and watch. And there was a guy in that crowd, and I remember it, you might remember this, he had like a bright yellow t-shirt, and you think he was a steward, it's so bright yellow, and it just says, Bob Backlund, WWF champion. It's like, it's in New York. This guy was probably there when Bob Backlund was champion 10 years earlier,
Yes.
you know. They have got the hardest of the hardcores in New York in that Manhattan Center once a Monday. You'd think that would be these AEW, especially like in Chicago last week. You'd be like,
Yeah.
these are the ones
That's
that...
wild.
It's gone, isn't it? It's a
gone.
strange makeup
Yeah,
of
it's
these
gone.
crowds.
I don't know who they are anymore. I really don't know who they are anymore. It's so weird to think Backlund as champion to the beginning of Raw's 10 years
Yeah.
compared to what
is
10
five.
years ago feels like.
Oh, God, yeah. 10 years, like 2014.
Yeah, madness.
Just hope Anna Jay doesn't, already shift her attentions and think she's already got that TBS title match with Mercedes Moné, because I don't want her to lose her forward focus, in this match. But I'll go a win for Anna Jay here. I think they could have, Anna Jay, forward, an absolute fiesta in there. Sid, only one women's match.
That's your worst ever. That's your worst ever.
No.
To stop and listening to come up with that that is your worst ever.
I didn't have to stop listening. It was already there.
I had that written down. Check my notes like I had cast stuff for hours ago. Wrote it last night.
Hey,
Tony Khan like it.
I was going to say, there's an allusion to Mercedes with this. So,
You sitting upright. Ford?
Mercedes?
In the middle of the night.
Car stuff. They love that.
It's going to be great.
Anyway.
One women's match, Sidge. Name of the game. Before that, though, the aim of the game.
We play a game every week, and the aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note for the first woman to appear for the only women's match on Dynamite, with the idea being we want to put in bold, italicize, and underscore the problem, the pattern, the what's going on here. Because if you notice, they shift it around some weeks, but predominantly there is a bit of a trend here. And that one women's match, the fact that there's only one is pretty disgusting, seems to occupy that same position on the card most weeks. Not all, but most. Or more often than not, anyway. And it's like, well, it's just before the main event. It's just before the thing that you're meant to look forward to the most. You don't really, most of the time, you don't really get a sense that there are women's wrestlers in this promotion of the first hour of their flagship program. It's almost like they're trying to hide them away, but it's almost like they feel like they have to book them at the same time in what's hardly a passion project. Otherwise, the bloody Wokes will kick off if there's no birds on it. Oh, Christ, we have to put women on, don't we? That's what it feels like to me.
Yep.
It's not good enough. Yes, there's been some really nice detail-oriented passion project stuff with, Mariah May and Tony Storm and the like, but, more often than not, it's just, oh, God, we bloody have to. I bloody have to now. And you're thinking, Cedric, Jesus Christ, what a mouthful this is. Can you jingleize it? Sure can. I can, in fact, jingleize what I perceive to be AEW's really sort of cynical thought process here, even if it might be imposed by Warner. But come on, can you jingleize it? Can you jingleize the aim of the game? Sure can. Don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. And that's the aim of the game. And the name of the game...
Christmas comes early every week. Yes.
The name of the game is... There's a graying man being dull on TV. The women's scene is so lost it's at sea. Jericho remains a boy who will not go away. But did you know that if you're bored, you can book one more match? And Kyle O'Reilly should... I've lost the melody here. Should not be heard, only seen. TK, I compare you to a sexist who likes them and grey. Ooh, The more I get of you, the more boring it feels, yeah. And even though the C2 is in bloom, there's still some room for the birds. It's, funnily enough, Seal is incredibly hard to get right.
Yeah.
I knew when I wrote that Kyle O'Reilly line, I was like, I'm going to lose the thread here. And yeah, I still wrote it.
Doing karaoke tomorrow night.
I say no, and then probably what ends up in it.
I want all of them. Just turn the karaoke machine off. Don't worry, Sid's got this. We're getting the Christmas compilation. Let's go.
So how can you phone up and like, can you put these words on the screen?
Shout as always to the.
I'm playing the game. I've got to run an errand at lunch.
Oh yeah, to the Banner Blair himself, Adam Blair at Adam Wilton 4, and Jose Palomares at the Ho 11. The guys who are taking care of the
data
for this sort of thing. Thank you very much. Obviously, just for fun now, ladies'
Indeed,
night,
yeah.
because of the fact
It's really fun. This
the competition is finished. Your new ladies' night champion for 2024. Me. So I'll go first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ain't broke, don't fix it. Got them in last week with it.
It's won your league in November, isn't it?
Yeah.
So fair play. Sid, do you want to go?
nah.
No, me neither. 110.
Ooh.
Because we were just talking about how 10 years passage of time is very different from how it used to be. 110 flat.
Flat as dynamite, huh? I'm going to split the old difference, and I'm going to go 116, 46. I'm obsessed with that American sportscaster voice, man. I love it. I could listen to someone read me a bloody Ulysses in that voice. Ulysses.
As read by Dotishakor.
Well, let us know your thoughts on everything we discussed in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, they can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Michael Sidgwick at
Emma Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from, for daily wrestling podcasts. You can also check out that Solving Every Problem that AEW has on the WhatCulture Wrestling main channel. I'll release it as a podcast later on today or tomorrow as well, so people can listen to that. We will be back tomorrow to review AEW Dynamite, but for now it's been the Dynamite Preview. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.